Woo! Yes! We win again, 5 on the spin. Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to another episode of 6 things that we learned from Chelsea's 1-0 win over Newcastle. I've learned something. It's flipping cold in my office. Got a hat on, got a jumper on that's not been ironed. Please allow me, it's Sunday, I can wear whatever I like. And Chelsea just won for the 5th time in a row. I feel good, guys, honestly. There's a lot of good things to talk about today, and I've got 6 green boxes, which doesn't happen all the time. Normally, I find, like, some cynical reason to add, like, it's like pouring a glass of water and then adding a bit of salt into it. The salt is the pessimism, the water is the optimism. Don't really know. I could have spent a lot more time thinking about something great there that would have made a lot more sense, but you know what I mean. Today is just full of positivity. I'm sorry if you wanted to come here for swearing, shouting, screaming. That's not what we do here on the George Benson Football channel. And I do want to ask, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, just to hit the subscribe button. It's free to do. It takes literally like, boom, millisecond, done. To my man of the match yesterday, and this is a man of the match that I choose myself, and I try and make it the first green box. It's like an unwritten rule of the series. My voice just went there, I apologise for that. The man of the match, in my eyes, yesterday was Jorginho. Now, I've spent a lot of time saying a lot of good things about this man, and I just absolutely love the bloke. You know what? He's so good. He's actually become such a better player under Frank Lampard than his supposed football father, Maurizio Sarri. Since Lampard's come in, Jorginho's been different level. And yesterday, I was spending a lot of time just watching his movement, watching the way he tries to order his teammates. And in the first half in particular yesterday, when we weren't very good, if you watched Jorginho as an individual, you could see him shouting at the players saying, I want you here, move here, I want the ball here so I can give it to you there, so that we can progress the play. That was something that we really struggled with yesterday. I feel as though it was very mundane, it was very slow in the first half, and Jorginho defensively was very, very good. He picked up the ball, he was always looking for the pass, but the movement wasn't always there. And I do feel as though yesterday he made very few mistakes. I think he only gave the ball away once or twice in the whole match, which was absolutely phenomenal. And as I always say, he was the engine in the middle, and I've put a little PlayStation controller, or it's not really branded, it could be an Xbox, could be a Nintendo, whatever you want it to be. I put a little controller in there just to show that he controlled the middle of the park yesterday for Chelsea. He ran the show against a very physical Newcastle team. They got so many men behind the ball, and Jorginho was always that man trying to interlink the play, to combine with the defenders, combine with the attackers, as he always does so well. Yesterday again, he was the best player on the pitch in my opinion. So box number 2, we're going to talk about the 18-year-old, and I'm going to stress the fact he's 18 in this 6 things we learned video today. Callum Hudson-Odoi. He was absolutely brilliant yesterday. The way that in the first half we didn't look as though we were able to carve out that many opportunities. Newcastle sat back, and it was up to players like Callum to actually turn up, to try and take players on, to get early crosses into the box that Tammy could attack or Mason Mount could attack, and he did that. We didn't look that good yesterday in the first half, but Callum Hudson-Odoi was always sharp. He got the assist for Alonso's goal as well, and all day long, this man, we've got to remember this, he's just come back from an Achilles injury that can actually end a player's career. This guy is 18. He's a decade away, 10 whole years away from being in the prime of his career. And it's quite scary to think how good Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to become. The fact that he's 18, he's already doing this in the Chelsea first team. And I think yesterday, metaphorically, we've already said like the passing of the baton from Hazard to Hudson-Odoi to take over that left-hand side. I think we actually, as opposed to metaphorically thinking about it, yesterday we actually saw that Callum Hudson-Odoi is that type of player. The player that can change games. And even though we couldn't break down that Newcastle defence and Callum came close on his own a couple of times, he was always looking for the cross, the pass. He did end up getting the assist for Marcos Alonso's goal. And I think he was just, again, the brightest player on the pitch for Chelsea, the best defensive outlet that we had. And even though I gave Jorginho my man of the match, I think that you can't fault Callum's performance yesterday. I think he was absolutely top draw. So moving into box number 3, and this is kind of like a different kind of concept to think about, but I'm going to highlight Zouma as the individual that I'm going to pick out here for a great performance again yesterday. And what I've done with the box is the guy with the book in his hand is meant to be a teacher, by the way. I just go on Canva and I just search for words and try and find things that kind of fit. And Tomori's in the box as if to say, like, you're the student, Zouma's the teacher. It wasn't the worst performance yesterday from Fikayo Tomori, but what was really good and what I really like to see and what's really positive for Chelsea defensively moving forward is that when Tomori makes an individual mistake, whether it's a lapse in concentration, maybe it's all of a sudden like a little bit of lack of confidence on the ball, Kurt Zouma was always there yesterday to pick up the pieces to make sure that an individual error didn't lead to the team conceding a goal. And I think that considering we mentioned this physical presence that Newcastle had, I think Kurt Zouma was the standout defender in terms of dealing with that presence. Newcastle didn't offer a lot going forward, but what I really liked from Zouma is how he offered himself to the midfield going forward a little bit as well. And he was always there if we got into any sticky situations to use his strength, to use his muscle, his power and his pace to keep Chelsea out of trouble. Brilliant performance yesterday from Zouma. Tomori was decent as well. I just do want to highlight that we've seen a couple of little errors from Tomori in the last couple of weeks. It's expected. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, he's not the first name on the team sheet anymore. Nonsense. Tomori has been brilliant since he's come in, and you've got to expect a player of that lack of experience in this level that hasn't played that many professional minutes of football in his life compared to some of the others. You're going to expect these kind of little errors to come in, but it's very, very good that we had Zouma controlling the game defensively so well yesterday for us to keep him out of trouble. So point number 4, and we couldn't not talk about him, he scored the winning goal in a 1-0 win. It's Marcos Alonso. I'm going to say this, and some people might not like this, but I didn't think Alonso had the best game yesterday in open play. I watched the game, obviously, in the West Stand, and then I've watched a load of highlight videos since, and I just think Alonso yesterday, for large portions of the game, showed that frustrating nature of his game that we've been so frustrated with over the years. The lack of acceleration to burst forward with the ball. Sometimes crazy lackluster decisions, such as the stupid foul that, from where I was sat, could have been, if the referee was being harsh, but we've seen it given, could have been a red card. You never know. He got a yellow quite early on. And it's up to Alonso to then manage his temperament, to control the game, to make sure he doesn't get himself into any more sticky situations. And he did that very well. But not only that, yet again, Marcos Alonso showed why offensively, not just this season, but in all of the other seasons previously as well, Alonso going forward is always a threat, and the way he took the goal, he hits it so hard that Dubravka, who, credit where credit's due, Dubravka had a great game yesterday for Newcastle. I mentioned it in my match preview. I think he's one of the underrated goalkeepers in the Premier League. Alonso hit it so well, and it goes in the back of the net. And this kind of links in, point number 4, to the final point. So I won't touch upon the final point too much because we've got one more really important thing to talk about before the final point. Alonso, he can always be relied going forward to get us a goal when it doesn't look like, well, to be honest, it did always look like we were going to win the game. As the second half drew on further and further, we were creating more opportunities. Newcastle were pretty much null and void going forward. They didn't offer anything, and it was up to us to put one of them in the back of the net. Marcos Alonso, the left back, not even a wing back yesterday, got forward and he tucked it home. So the question now is, what happens when Emerson, it looks as though he's going to be back ready to play for us against Ajax on Wednesday. What do we do now? Alonso has been playing really, really well. If we measure the performance against Newcastle, it wasn't the best, but he got the winning goal. How do you drop a player who's actually delivering so much for the team right now? It's going to be interesting to see what Frank does. As we move into point number 5, Frank Lampard is a very pragmatic manager. When he sees things on the field that aren't working, he's not afraid to change it, even if, to address everything here, it's the golden boy, Mason Mount. Some people have got an agenda against Lampard because he loves Mason Mount too much. A, Mason Mount's good. B, Frank Lampard has actually been very good so far as Chelsea manager, in my opinion. We're only 2 points adrift of Manchester City, the champions. Just bear that in mind for anyone who's still out to try and criticise him. But what I really loved yesterday is how I could see that Mason Mount wasn't as energetic as he normally is. He was struggling to get involved with the game, and Frank Lampard, despite everyone thinking that Mason's his golden boy, he changed things early. He brought on Christian Pulisic, who I thought yesterday was very, very good when he came on. I loved the way that even though he's not the tallest player on the pitch, he was still leaping up and winning headers in the middle of the park against players much taller than he was. And as well, going forward, he was always looking to drive forward with the ball. How we didn't score when Tammy Abraham got the ball squared to him by Pulisic, and some people can turn around and say it's a lack of confidence for Pulisic to take it on his own. I think it's a lack of selfishness, which is great, selflessness, to see Tammy in a better position to score it. Yes, the defender running in, Yedlin, it was an unbelievable tackle. Take nothing away from the defending, but Pulisic I thought was very, very good. He always offered himself to the ball, and he was trying to get forward, and when he did get forward, there was almost end product. Yep, apart from DeAndre Yedlin making a great tackle, and Dubravka making a phenomenal save. So what we can establish here to kind of consolidate point number 5 into 2 points, Pulisic is very promising again when he comes on, doing everything that he can in order to get himself in contention for a start. And the second point of point number 5 is the pragmatism of Frank Lampard to see something that normally works but wasn't, and not being afraid to change it before it gets too late in the game, and then we're really chasing the victory, and who knows, you can get done on the counter-attack and lose. And as soon as Pulisic came on, there was a new energy, there was a new forward drive, and it wasn't Mason Mount's worst game yesterday. I don't think he did that much wrong. I just don't think he was involved as much as he would have liked to, and that was down to the fact that Newcastle just packed that defence so tightly, and it was hard for him to get involved with the game. Pulisic got involved a bit more, stretched it a little bit, and he also almost got an assist. And honestly, if he'd have scored yesterday with that chance, I think the whole of Stamford Bridge would have gone mental. Everyone is ready for Pulisic's first goal. I do feel like it's close. I really do. We see him get more minutes yesterday. I think he'll feature at some stage against Ajax. I think he's a kind of player that is kind of similar to some of Ajax's players, and I think he could be useful for us in that game. Cannot wait, by the way, for that. I'm actually flying out Tuesday morning. See you at Luton Airport at 8:05 if you're flying out there too. But very, very good from Pulisic yesterday again. So point number 6, and to wrap up this 6 things we learned video from Chelsea's 1-0 win against Newcastle. The difference in football between a great team and a good team is the ability to win matches in different scenarios by playing different styles of football in order to get the 3 points. What we've seen over recent years from Chelsea teams is one system that either works or it doesn't. We very rarely change things. We sometimes struggle to graft out results. Last season in particular, we were very good at that under Antonio Conte. The way we won yesterday was proper Chelsea, wasn't it? It was, you're up against a team that is putting every man behind the ball. It's frustrating. You got headers hitting the crossbar, you're just heading it over, and you got the keeper playing out of his skin. You've got defenders making last-ditch tackles. Everything is going well apart from the scoreline. At 0-0, the only thing you have on your mind is to win. And Chelsea did that yesterday. Whether it was this beautiful, flair, creative, attacking football, it kind of was still, even though we didn't get the end product the whole game. We ground out that result yesterday, and we defended superbly as a team, controlled the game, and I also want to give a massive shout out to Mateo Kovacic, who I thought was class when he came on. We controlled the game in the middle of the park, which is what I said in my match preview would be the difference between winning or not winning for Chelsea yesterday, and we did that. Jorginho was world class, Kovacic controlled the game as well, and he offered us that ability to dribble forward with the ball that N'Golo Kante also does so well, and that is how Chelsea won the game yesterday. We fought right until the end. We should have had 3 or 4, and I think that if it was 3 or 4-0, I don't think any Newcastle fans would have said it was unjust. I think Newcastle played very well. They were very resolute defensively, but we ground out the win, and that is the sign of a great team. And at this stage, when it's still very young, it's still very early, we're into the top 4 now, and things can only get better. And right now, they're very good for Chelsea, which is brilliant to see. Let's not get too carried away though. The game against Ajax on Wednesday is probably going to be the hardest away fixture so far this season. Yes, we went to United and got beat 4-0, but that was a bit of a fluke game, in my opinion, after what I've seen of both teams respectively so far this season. Ajax are going to offer us a huge test, and God, imagine if we come away from Ajax with a win, not only will there be the best match vlog of the season, I will make sure of that. Amsterdam is going to be, I know that place pretty well, so it's going to be a cracker. But oh my goodness, imagine if we go to Ajax and win, and then go to Turf Moor and win. Getting a bit far ahead of myself now, but this is a very good time to be a Chelsea fan. We're playing some great football. grinding out results against very resolute defensive teams. 5 on the spin for Super Frank. Onwards and upwards, we're into the top 4. Thank you guys for watching this video. As I said at the beginning, if you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson football channel, I make new videos, mostly about Chelsea, every single day. I do 6 things we learn after every match we play, whether it's a friendly, Carabao Cup, Premier League, Champions League, whatever it is, there's always one of these, and there's usually a match vlog as well. So subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you like this series, if you're glad that the Premier League is back and Chelsea are back. It's another win. I'll see you all tomorrow and then Amsterdam. Bye-bye.